I'm Kevin Cirilli, Chief Washington Correspondent for Bloomberg Television and for Bloomberg Radio, joined by Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican from Tennessee. Senator, thank you for joining us. A lot of topics to cover, but let's start with commerce policy, because Commerce Secretary nominee Gina Raimondo has said that she doesn't think President Biden will remove former President Trump's Huawei restrictions. What can you tell us about her latest comments and policies regarding Huawei?
We think that Huawei should be restricted. And Kevin, as you and your viewers know, the fact that Huawei intentionally embeds spyware into their hardware, the fact that these microchips are not seen or known until they activate within that system. We know that China is trying to build a database, if you will, that is built off of images of individuals. We know they're also trying to collect DNA data. They're trying to merge this information. This is all part of their global dominance campaign. It is what they are looking to do in the 21st century. So, since we are aware of this, since we know that you never know where the Chinese commercial sector and the military sector begin and end, they even call it civil-military fusion. We think it is wise that we not allow Huawei to be used by any of our U.S. entities or by our allies. So we want to make certain that Huawei stays out of our purchasing process. It is of concern to us that Governor Raimondo may be open to allowing Huawei into this process.
So you think that, because according to a response that she gave to members of the committee that is overseeing the Senate Republicans who are overseeing her confirmation process, she said that, quote, "I understand that parties are placed on the entity list and the military end user list generally because they pose a risk to U.S. national security or foreign policy interests. I currently have no reason to believe that entities on those lists should not be there. If confirmed, I look forward to a briefing on these entities and others of concerns." It sounds like she's not suggesting that she wants to remove Huawei from this list.
But what we want to make certain of is that we do not have any of these companies, Huawei, ZTE, any of them allowed back into the process. And our concern is with some of the statements that are coming from the Biden administration and decisions that are being made that are going soft on China. This is of concern to us. You can look at energy policy. You can look at some of the comments that are made in relation to trade or other components. And Kevin, we are being very watchful of this. We are very concerned about any steps that would make it easier for China to achieve their goal of global dominance. We're very concerned about comments that are made that would not hold the Chinese Communist Party responsible for the human rights violations. We're concerned about statements that would make it easier for the Chinese military to advance their goals.
And as you and I are having this conversation, I mean, there's been so much in the tech space, and you, of course, are one of the leading Republicans on the tech issue. GameStop has been in the news and in the headlines. Senator Ted Cruz has come out. Some strange political bedfellows, to be candid with you, Senator, where he and AOC are agreeing even on some potential policies publicly. What do you think should be done, or do you have concerns about how Robinhood acted with regards to GameStop?
Yeah, you know, we're watching all of this, and I think that there will be heroes, villains, and lessons in this entire process. And we don't know yet exactly where there was bad actors or fraud, but we do know Senate banking, House finance, Janet Yellen is assembling a group to cover this. But what we do know is that Republicans, and this would be my message to Wall Street, they have pushed for a deregulatory environment. We know that there are some on the left that would like to micromanage the hedge funds and how they operate. To Main Street, I would say it is important to us that everyone, Main Street and Wall Street, have access to the marketplace. And we will watch the information that comes forward as the hearings and the oversight is conducted in the coming weeks.
I got two more questions for you quickly. Senator Mitt Romney, Republican of Utah, he's come out with some child care credits for economic stimulus between $3,000 and $4,000 per child. Have you been following this? Are you supportive of the $1.9 trillion stimulus, or do you think that Americans cannot afford this right now?
We are going to be going to the floor in just a little while for vote-a-rama on this budget document. And the stimulus or the assistance or the COVID relief, whatever someone is wanting to call it, it should be targeted, it should be temporary, it should be timely. And that was our problem back in July and August and September, twice in October, November, when we put bipartisan stimulus and COVID relief packages forward. Our problem right now is we've done 5 bills that were bipartisan, and now what are the Democrats doing? They are trying to go it alone. They didn't want a pared down $600 billion package. They don't want to break it apart so that we can target money that is needed to families, to individuals who lost their job through no fault of their own, to vaccine development and production and distribution. So this is a frustrating process, but I think what you're going to see is all of this talk of unity that you are getting from the administration. What they're looking for is submission, and they're looking for conformity. And our approach was very different on these issues.
And finally, should President Trump testify next week in the trial, as Democrats have asked?
I have to tell you, this impeachment for a former president is something I view as unconstitutional. And quite frankly, I think that the Democrats need to think this one through a little bit. If you're going to impeach, which would be to convict and remove from office, then you have to think about the fact that you would open the door to impeaching former presidents for any of the actions, or civil officers. So do you really want to go down this path and change the way impeachment has been used?